We are live in this dugout, and it's been 3 days. 3 days since the ICC World Test Championship final scar, isn't it? 11th of June, you saw India prolong their misery. 10 years into this ICC drought, you've not won it. Another ICC World Test Championship final lost. The saga of pain continues. Now, what did the Indian cricket team do before the World Test Championship? Because questions will be raised about preparation, questions will be raised about a lot of other things. In that squad, before the final, this thing we did, the squad, everybody played the IPL, with the exception of Cheteshwar Pujara.
True.
The Australian players, just two of them played the IPL. The rest, and David Warner. That's it. The rest of the Australian squad were practicing and also taken a break from the game.
Right.
March was the last time that they had happened. So, is IPL, when you look at it, the Indian players played a lot. They only had a very short turnaround time for about 10 days. 10 days, that was about it. Some of the players had 14 days, the others had 10 days.
Some had less than that as well.
Yeah, I mean, the likes of Rahane, the likes of all the other guys, Jadeja, Shubman Gill, they all just had only 10 days because they were the last to leave because of a 3-day final that happened in the IPL.
True.
But the one who left the last actually had a very good performance.
That's also
if you look at Ajinkya Rahane in a nutshell. So, is the IPL the straight point in this dugout that we are all debating today? Is IPL to blame for India's poor show in ICC events that has been there for maybe not 10 years, for the last 5 to 6 years? Because this ICC World Test Championship came 14 days or maybe 10 days after the IPL ended.
Yeah. IPL got over on 31st.
31st.
And
30th.
The World Test Championship
7th.
started on 7th. So not even 10 days.
Not even 10 days. Just a week.
28th it was scheduled, 29th
29th
the match started
and it ended on the 30th.
It ended on the
30th
morning.
3-day final it was. Now the IPL is only going to get bigger in 24 and 25. More games will be played.
Looking at 90 games,
94 matches will be played. So the IPL is getting bigger. You are not going to get any kind of window for preparation. Now, what do players do? What do we as fans expect? Is IPL a soft target, or is there a legitimate grouse to target the IPL and say, oh, it will lead to poor showing in ICC events? I throw the floor open to all of you guys. Is IPL a soft target, or is there a legitimate factor that yes, IPL is responsible?
I don't think it's a soft target. You will, when you talk about preparation, you will talk about the time given to preparation, you will talk about what format of the game you are playing or will be playing, let's say ahead of a big tournament. So anything that happens close to a big tournament will always be will be looked at with scrutiny. It will be, let's say, it won't make sense, let's say, if you're headed into a 5-day format or a 5-day multi-nation tournament, let's say, but you were playing T20 cricket before that or ODI cricket before that, because you're talking about a shift as far as the format is concerned. So, in that way, I would say, let's say something like the Asia Cup. The Asia Cup adopts the format of the ICC tournament, which is going to take place later in the year, which is what we've seen over the last few years. The Asia Cup becomes a T20 tournament like it did last year, and this year it's a 50-over format. So I am in for such tournaments as long as the next tournament after that, the ICC tournament, is the same format. I'm okay with that. But if you're talking about two different formats happening too close to the heels of the other, then there's a problem for me.
See, IPL is here to stay.
Yes.
It has been running successfully for last 16 years, 16 editions. Whether World Test Championship, if it has a future or not, we don't know. I hope it continues. There will be a few improvements as well, but whether it is going to continue or not, I'm not too sure. as in years to come. Most likely it will continue, but then IPL is here to stay. So now Rohit Sharma, before the test match begins, says that it's just a mental switch. And see, I agree to it. So first, Rohit Sharma, before the test match, he said it's just a mental switch and you have to adapt to it. You were playing IPL and then you have to play a test match. That is for any modern day cricketer, any professional cricketer, you have to adapt to that kind of a situation. Later, after you had lost that test match, he said, yeah, we would have preferred more time,
20 odd days, he said,
more time for the preparations. So, result decides whether IPL is a punching bag or not. And as far as IPL, see, whatever you might say, whoever might say that IPL is useless, it is spoiling cricketers, Indian cricket is not benefiting. See, IPL will remain and the matches will grow. You will have more number of matches, 90, that is what is proposed, that you will have 90 matches from the next season. So, and as far as, so you can't blame, and in this modern day age, you have to admit that this is how cricket will run. You will have an IPL, and for any modern day cricketer, you will have to make that switch. Else, you can very well leave any of the two formats or three formats. Either you can leave T20 completely, but IPL, see, will your broadcaster allow a Virat Kohli or Rohit Sharma or MS Dhoni? Of course, MS Dhoni is a internationally retired player, just plays IPL. Or some of these superstars of Indian cricket who are not featuring. If they say that we will not play the IPL. I'm talking about this particular test match or this particular season of the IPL. That 18th of May onwards, we are not going to play the IPL. What would your broadcaster say? What would the franchisee say? What would the BCCI say? Do you really think that they will let that happen? No, they will not. So somebody who's bought a team for 7,100 crores, I'm talking about the Lucknow Super Giants.
Yeah.
So, why would he allow? Because he has bought a team for such an exorbitant amount, and he's got a few players together to win the title. And that is how you develop or improve the brand value of your team. So at the end of the day, it's a brand. These are corporate houses who own these franchisees. They want to win that title. For them, playing and having these players on their roster and winning the title matters a lot. So IPL, whatever you may say, so IPL is, else you can very well make it very clear right at the start at the auctions that this is what is going to happen. We are not going to be available for the auctions because we have a World Test Championship. And why are we blaming IPL for India's loss in ICC tournaments? Is this the only time that or is this does this happen so regularly that every time you play an ICC tournament it is followed by by IPL?
ICC,
It's been happening on a regular basis. See, ever since the IPL's begun, you haven't won the T20 World Cup.
Yeah, that's the irony of it.
That's the irony of it.
But not always do you have an ICC tournament after an IPL, immediately after the IPL. I understand the last WTC happened immediately after.
You had the Champions Trophy in June.
Yeah. So I'm saying, I understand, during COVID, you had the second half of the IPL was played
in the UAE
just before the T20 World Cup in 2021. So I understand these three occasions or these two occasions I can still understand. But then what about the other ICC tournaments that you have played?
See, 2019, even the World Cup that was played after the IPL immediately. Okay, so what happened in that we saw?
I thought I think that was a white ball tournament.
It was. So you had two Champions trophies. You had one World T20 in very extraordinary circumstances. And you had 2 World Test Championships after the IPL.
Right.
You've not had that much amount of success after 2013, even in red ball or white ball cricket, whatever major ICC events you've been. I mean, 2013 was the last. 2014 you lost in the final, 2015 you lost the semi-final, 16 semi-final, 17 final, 19 semi-final, 21 you lost in the league stages as well, 22 semi-final, now in the final. It's not as if you are getting out very early. It is that one major game. So, rather than blaming a particular tournament before the start of the IPL, do we now then say the mindset of the Indian cricket team gets fatigued at a very wrong time? When you have to be at your peak.
Mindset is definitely a thing. You wouldn't otherwise see such big losses now. The margins of loss is only increasing. You saw a 10 wicket loss just about 8 months back. You saw a 209 run loss. Let's not forget that we lost by
180 runs to
Pakistan in 2017. So the margin of victory is a bit of a surprise of late now, and that it draws me back to what Matthew Hayden had said ahead of the World Test Championship final. He said that with Indians, the thing is the pressure on the cricketers is just so much that you need to really find a way as to how you deal with such a pressure. Or such pressure, because it is so enormous in this country. He says it does boil down to the mental aspect and how mentally strong can the Indian batters be.
Mentally, even if I blame IPL for India's losses that they've suffered in the last few years, you can't help it. IPL is here to stay.
That's
IPL will. So you have to adapt. You have to decide what do you want to do.
The only way I think I will blame IPL in a way is the timing of the IPL, the scheduling of the IPL.
But IPL is always scheduled. You have a window for IPL.
That's what I'm saying. So then maybe you need the BCCI to get some sort of cooperation. Let's say, I know what I'm talking is far-fetched. But then if BCCI needs to find a way out, you can't... Adaptation and that mental switch that Rohit Sharma talked about is clearly not how cricket works. It's not a switch. You do need time to acclimatize and adapt, and 1 week is not good enough time.
No, but modern day cricketer will have to do that. Otherwise, there is no place for you.
And anyway, see, Rohit Sharma's talk of 20 to 25 day acclimatization is all in the air. Because remember, in the T20 World Cup of 2022.
No, but I'll tell you what.
20 days prior, India had gone to Australia to acclimatize.
But what did New Zealand do ahead of the World Test Championship final in 2021? They were already playing in England, weren't they?
But it wasn't their fault also. I was telling you, Rahul, in the 2022 T20 World Cup, didn't India go 20 days, the core team?
In
2022, in Australia,
last
the
T20
year? World Cup.
Yeah. So they reached there on, I think, 2nd or 6th, and their first match was on 21st.
The warm-up game that they played first.
So, the Indian team reached there on 2nd, if I am not wrong, or 3rd maybe, if not earlier.
Yeah.
And then their first game was on 21st, if I remember correctly.
Against Pakistan.
So, what happened? Yeah. That's last year I'm talking about.
23rd.
23rd. Yeah.
23rd.
Okay. So I'm saying, so what happened there?
We won just by the skin of our teeth against Pakistan.
We managed to make it to just the semis.
Yep.
And that too, you won a few good games. That's it.
But you lost to South Africa.
Yeah.
You almost got out of jail against Pakistan. Bangladesh again, had it not been for that rain interruption, that game was going somewhere else, by the way.
Yep,
so it is all about the mindset, and if you have to survive this international calendar, this is what you will have to do. You can very well say goodbye to T20 cricket. You can very well say goodbye to Test cricket if that's the problem. So that if results don't go your way, you tend to find excuses. You tend to find who should we blame? I know this comment came from Ravi Shastri, but the point is, all your big superstars, the franchisee, the teams, they are built on these superstars. Virat Kohli for RCB, Rohit Sharma for Mumbai Indians, MS Dhoni for this particular team, KL Rahul for the Lucknow. So this is how now Shubman Gill is your next big thing. Shubman Gill, what he's done in this IPL, obviously you'll have expectations. You had expectations from him during the World Test Championship also, the final. So these are all these are things that sound very good when people, and especially when things like these come from experts, former cricketers, voices that matter. But then there is no solution. Either you quit one format, that also you don't want to do. See, Rohit Sharma and Virat Kohli, both of them were left out for that series against Sri Lanka at home.
T20 series.
And there was such a huge hue and cry over that how can you drop, how can, and a lot of people didn't even believe. They said that they had sought rest from the selectors, but no, that was not the fact. Even thereafter, so you have to see. And for me, if you ask me, I've said this a few times earlier also, that for Rohit Sharma, not just as captain but even as a player, I think West Indies would be his last series.
Rohit
Sharma
as captain,
not just as a captain.
Then?
Even you never know. Maybe even as a player, he might just quit Test cricket altogether. Because and then just focus on white ball cricket. But then the problem is, if he quits Test cricket, he is not there in T20 in
the setup right now. He's not there,
for the Indian team. And then you have a World Cup in 4 months' time.
Yeah.
Then the next World Cup is 2024. That's the T20 World Cup. So you will have very limited number of
games,
ODIs. So then basically he's just playing IPL and a few ODI games. That's it. So suddenly, out of sight is out of mind also. It also because why the Indian players do not are very reluctant to retire. Why it is very difficult for them to understand that for them cricket is over, is also because of course for any competitive person, he wouldn't want to give up. That's fine, fair enough. But then also you have so many things attached and associated with your cricket, because the more you play, the more you are visible. The more you are visible, the more your brand value is. So that's one thing. So for me, if you say all these things, not to play here, you were not prepared. It's not the first time that. Or not the only time, or not all the time that you play a World Cup just after an IPL season.
Then in an ideal world, how should the Indian cricket team have prepared? Like you were saying, like preparation, you had spoken even during the match also, there was no preparation. How could the Indian cricket team have prepared in such a very small window?
No, they couldn't.
So they are already lost before.
No. See, even if India would have gone there 20 days prior to the Test match, I think Australia would have still started as favourites.
Because of the team composition.
Yeah, because of the team composition, because of the balance, because of the form of your players, because of the mindset. So it's it's the mindset, it's the intent, it's what you do prior to an important series or a Test match. So Australia, they were here for the Border Gavaskar Trophy. They know how important for them this Border Gavaskar Trophy is, how important an Ashes series is. So they were here much before the start of the first Test, and they were in Bangalore preparing. Irrespective of the conditions, the bowlers, whatever it may be, at least they tried. They said that we'll have to acclimatize to the conditions. We need to get some bowlers. We need to get enough practice before we face India at home on those conditions like the one that they faced in Nagpur, Delhi, even Indore for that. Yeah. So they lost. That's something different. That's another thing. But then at least they tried. They prepared.
But. That's exactly, you asked what should have been the ideal preparation. This exactly should have been the ideal preparation then.
But they don't have time.
They didn't have time.
So the calendar is so packed. It's not just now. See, earlier there used to be a season.
Yeah.
You would remember there used to be a season, and then you also used to have off season. Now there is no off season. You are playing cricket non-stop. Throughout the year. Surprisingly, you have a 1 month break now.
Yes.
Imagine.
Exactly. I
In
think
the
it's
last-
not happened
in-
for the past 7-8 years. I don't think so.
I will have to, I can't even remember when was the last that something like this happened.
Yeah.
That's the thing. And because see, you are talking about New Zealand, right?
Yeah.
Two things worked for them in 2021. One, IPL because it got suspended, so
Yeah.
they could head back home.
Correct.
But the second most important thing was that New Zealand was in the green zone where they had totally controlled COVID cases, so they need not have served quarantine in England. That was the best part. India, we were unfortunately dealing with a very terrible
Delta.
COVID surge in 2021. And you had to undergo a 2-week mandatory quarantine period when you went out.
That's fine.
No,
No,
you're talking about the 2021 World Test Championship.
Yeah.
Okay.
New Zealand were already there. They had played 2 tests.
So
They played 2 tests against England.
Basically, so those 2 tests, they were not part of your World Test Championship cycle.
No.
New Zealand requested England.
Yes.
Okay, they agreed. It was the ideal preparation for them.
Yeah.
The Indian players, the Indian team didn't get, so they played competitive cricket.
Intra-squad.
India could have played, warm-up games, intra-squad, all these things. But New Zealand, they had the best possible preparation going into that test match.
Yes.
And then you messed up with the toss. You messed up with your selection.
Yes.
You saw overcast conditions and it had rained for close to 40 hours before the test match began on, starting because you also had a reserve day. So you pushed that test match a day later, and then you chose to play 2 spinners.
Yes.
So it's so difficult. I don't know. You have these international cricketers who've played cricket have been playing cricket for donkey's years. You have somebody like Rahul Dravid. Ricky Ponting on the very first day, he had made it loud and clear that this is, it looks the surface looks a little damp. It has grass, but beneath that, it's absolutely dry.
Yep.
So, and soon after the first day, I think you were throughout that test match, you were always playing catch up.
Yes.
And Rahane and Shardul, you'll have to give them credit for the way they batted, at least applied themselves. But then you never know. So, see, Rahane and Shardul, both of them, they were dismissed of no balls.
Yeah. Yes.
Both of them.
Yep.
And then there were some drop chances also.
Yeah.
So you never know this test match that we are saying that it ended on the after the first session on day 5. It could have very well ended on the 3rd day or maybe first session of the 4th day.
4th day.
So if Rahane wouldn't have scored those 89 runs, if you wouldn't have managed those runs that you got in the first innings. So to answer your question, if IPL is to be blamed for India's poor show in ICC events, I'm saying even if it is to be blamed, you cannot help it. You have to decide your priorities. You have to see whether you have now. Okay, Cheteshwar Pujara didn't play the IPL. What happened?
Yeah. 2 bad shots, one misjudgment and one a ramp shot that he's not even played for 2 years. He played one uppercut again in that oval test against England.
It's all about switching, and modern day cricketer has to accept the fact that this is how cricket is going to run. And I know it's very difficult. Throughout the year you are running from one venue to the other, to the other, to the other. But then this is what you also want. This is what you asked for. This is what you were aspiring when you were not there in that dressing room, when you were not playing for India, when you were just growing up watching other cricketers. This is what you wanted. Now you have it. Face it.
And if you want to give credit to the IPL also in a way, look, Ajinkya Rahane, he was the last to come there. He switched on and he made 89 and 46. He was your highest run getter in both the innings if you look at it combined.
And he applied himself. See, he was playing very deep into the crease. Was playing late.
Yeah.
Never played those expansive drives. If you see, he would just place his front foot. Wouldn't go for those expansive drives. Was playing late.
Yes.
So you have to apply.
Except for the one that he tried, he got out, unfortunately, Ajinkya Rahane. But that one lapse of misjudgment in all the others.
In fact, the interesting thing with Rahane was the way he batted, just to add to what Rahul was saying, was seeing the contact points, with the ball. Everything was just around the crease. not an inch here or there. That is the so he was, as Rahul says, batting a little deep as well in the crease, but that's because he probably wanted that extra split second as well, so that he could play as close to the body and in line with the crease. So that's the way you approach. But again, not everyone does. Probably a seasoned person like Rahane was able to adapt. Let's not forget that he was playing cricket all along, even though he was dumped out of the team. He was playing Ranji. He played the SMAT as well, if I'm not wrong.
Yeah.
He led Mumbai to the title, no?
No, not this time. I think it was last
time. Anyhow, so he was playing active cricket, is what my point is. Then came into the IPL, switched on, changed gears in a way, but didn't change the way he approached the game. That's what he said repeatedly as well. That Mahi told me and Fleming told me that, you know, I should rely on my strength, pick those gaps, go for timing, not to muscle the ball, the way that he knows how to play cricket.
So if you look at the 11 in the IPL, they all played, okay. Siraj looked impressive. So he continued, he switched on. Test match length, okay, I have to bowl that. Jadeja was decent. 3 wickets, then he scored 48.
At least in the first inning, he looked good.
He looked good. Shubman Gill, I think, was a big disappointment in both innings because he had a misjudgment and then he poked at a delivery outside off. Kohli, that weakness, unfortunately, outside off in the second innings cost him. And Sunil Gavaskar in the first innings, he had a misjudgment.
Who?
Virat Kohli. First innings, he was forward to a ball that leapt up from Stark. So Sunil Gavaskar said, yeah, it was a misjudgment.
It wasn't a misjudgment. So he basically said that Kohli's, Virat's approach in that first innings was different. Because it's not just, see, Virat's trigger movement is, you know, he just
on the front foot always, yeah.
Always front foot. And the moment you are on the front foot, it is very difficult to come back.
Yeah, that's what he said.
That Mitchell Stark bowled.
Yes.
And in the second innings, he actually corrected that. But it was, I think in the second innings, it was a misjudgment.
Yes.
No, even Sunny Ji did say that first. He said in the first innings dismissal, had he not committed himself on the front foot, then maybe, you know, yes, there was some brute bounce there.
See, if you see a lot of great players, their trigger movement usually was on the front foot.
Yes.
You know, the moment a bowler was approaching or is about to load or deliver the ball, the first moment, the trigger moment is on the front foot. So, but if you see Kevin Peterson, I think Ricky Ponting also, a lot of these greats, their trigger moment was, Virat Kohli was on the front foot.
Yeah.
But, you know, then on the back foot, Rahane was played on the back foot and he was successful. Yeah. So, I think the second day, so you know what has happened with the Indian team, and that too very often. On big days, they have crumbled, and then, you know, a target of 444 was obviously would have been unprecedented, a very difficult, improbable sort of a target. But the moment people started to say, you know, you just forget about 444, you just need 280, 7 wickets in hand, Virat Kohli and Ajinkya Rahane are batting. So, you know, it has happened so often for India that, you know, the moment they realize, oh, really, we can win this one, and that is when the slump comes.
The slump indeed comes. So, it was a mixed performance from the Indian cricket team unit, if you look at it. But unfortunately, they collectively just collapsed, as it happens in every ICC event that has been going on since 2014. So, IPL, it depends what you want to interpret, because as Rahul said, from March to May, it is there to stay. It will forever stay in that period. It's never going to go away. And if the players can take a stand and say, oh, for 20 to 25 days before, I mean, if you want to go to the World Test Championship final in 2025, we'll ask the franchise to release us. That will be something extraordinary if that happens.
And unprecedented.
Honestly. If the players themselves request national duty, but I don't see it happening, unfortunately. So, is there any good questions that we can take? Akash Bharadwaj.
All questions are very good,
Yeah. Okay. Kuldeep Sharan's asking, why switching between T20 and Chess? Just play like England, same manners in all formats. But is it easy to
What?
switching
He's
between
saying play like
T20
England.
Just
They
play like
play
England.
Test and T20 the same way.
It doesn't work that way. So,
Yeah.
see, England also, there will be days when they will also lose.
Yeah.
And it is difference between white ball and red ball A. Now, the kind of cricket that England is trying to play, you know, Ben Stokes is asking the curators to prepare flat wickets. In Pakistan also, you had flat wickets. That gave them a very good opportunity to bat the way they batted. Now, are they going to continue in the same fashion against a team like Australia?
Wait and watch.
Exactly, and also if you have flat wickets, that then it's one thing, and you know, it may backfire. And if you lose an Ashes, which they shouldn't, by the way, they've got a pretty decent team. And also, if you see, they've just announced their 11 for the first test match, and if you see, Moeen Ali will come out to bat at number 8,
8.
Bairstow at 7.
My goodness.
So Broad, Anderson and Ollie Robinson. You're 9, 10, 11. So a batsman of Moeen Ali's caliber will come out to bat at number 8. Imagine.
My goodness. Scary.
So they can actually go for that, play that sort of, and also, you know, the day they face those testing conditions against the, so he's saying, why is it difficult to switch from ODI or wide ball? It's also the red ball, it tends to seem a bit more than the white ball. In India, you use Kookaburra for white ball cricket, and the moment you switch to SG or Duke's ball, it tends to move more than the Kookaburra or the white ball.
Is it true, Akash Bharat was saying, is it true that BCCI are looking to call Hardik back in test and blooding Yashasvi as an opener?
Sorry?
Is it true that BCCI are looking to call Hardik back in tests and blood Yashasvi Jaiswal as an opener?
No, obviously, when when he is being asked to come as a reserve, so obviously there must be something in their mind that they are looking into the future, and I'm sure Yashasvi Jaiswal is definitely in their scheme of things. And as for what was the other question?
Hardik Pandya back in test.
Hardik Pandya has to decide, no? Hardik Pandya himself is not available to play test cricket, then how can you get him into the test?
And when he was asked this question, if you remember, what did he say? It'll be wrong ethically.
Yeah.
He said it'll be wrong ethically because I've not been playing test cricket. I don't know if there are other people who are in the B line. I can't just jump the queue and be there.
Yeah, he's not played test since 2019. And there is for a reason. He had a career-threatening back injury.
Yes, that's for him to see how fit he is. Yes, of course, Saurav Ganguly on our very platform, he said that he'd want to see Hardik Pandya play test cricket.
I would also want to see.
You don't want to, yeah, exactly. We know on many counts he's that all-rounder which we've already.
The question is whether Hardik Pandya is willing to play or not. That's the big question.
And is his body allowing him to play?
Exactly, and I'm sure he would want to, but he can't. His body has to.
Because not on all occasions did we see him bowl all 4 overs. There were those injury concerns with him through the IPL as well. He was being a little conservative with his own body.
Correct.
2 overs, 3 overs at max we saw him. Rarely did we see him bowl those quota of 4 overs. So for him to then jump to bowling 15, 20 overs in a day in a test match.
Imagine making that switch to T20 to tests in a different condition is different. It's very difficult. Imagine somebody who's not bowled that much for 4 years to suddenly start bowling 20 to 25 overs. His body will break down.
20 to 25 overs. So, even if he's playing, he is going to be a third or fourth fast bowler.
15 overs maybe?
10 to 15 overs.
So,
because Shardul bowled about 15 to 20.
Yeah, you'd expect
but he bowled 15 to 20 overs because Umesh Yadav
was inconsistent.
Was not great that day, and then they also had to make up for Umesh and Shardul's bowling with the 14 overs that Jadeja bowled that day.
Yeah, correct. So Tripti Dimri is like saying, do you guys think playing New Zealand and South Africa in Windy Dharamshala? By the way, Tripti, India are playing South Africa and Kolkata, not Dharamshala. New Zealand is in Dharamshala. That too, October may be tricky. Their bowlers can get swing and trouble us. I mean, I have a very different take on the ICC World Cup scheduling. I mean, October you're hosting games in Chennai when it's supposed to rain. October, November is the time when the northeast monsoon arrives.
It's not the ICC. BCCI has sent them the draft, no? ICC to just has to
Brilliant.
Put the stamp on it.
So GGK, I think, was dropping Raidu 2019, Chahal in 2021 and 2022 World Cup, and Ashwin in WTC due to IPL. India takes World Cup easily and Indian media hypes India. Problem is the selection and lack of proper planning for World Cup. I agree with the second part. Team selection and lack of proper planning. It's true. It's plagued India every single time since 2017. Play the wrong team. 2021, Rahul pointed out, you played the wrong team in the wrong conditions.
How can you
in
not
Southampton?
Chahal, yeah.
And also, the greatest mystery. Your leading wicket taker in the IPL in 2021, you didn't play him in the UAE. Neither did you play him in 2022. But all these three guys dropping, especially Ashwin in WTC, was due to IPL. No, I don't think so.
No, it was just to do with the fact that in England you now made it the norm that Ravichandran Ashwin doesn't play a lot of games, and you were carried away with that 1 hour of cloud cover that you saw.
Even in the Shastri Kohli regime,
Yeah.
Ashwin never played in England.
Yeah.
In the 4 tests.
In the 4 tests, yeah, you didn't.
And cloud cover was cited as the reason. Yet India were leading 2-1. So at that time the issue got swept under the carpet. Now that 1 hour of cloud, if Rohit Sharma was captaining the Indian team in 2002, Leeds would never have happened. You got swayed away. Ganguly trusted his batters. Rohit didn't even trust his batters. The management didn't trust the batters.
No, Rohit Sharma is the captain, he is the opener.
Yeah.
I'm sure if he would have wanted, he could have, just chosen to bat first. He's the captain, he's the opener.
Exactly. So any further questions, Shivam? Anything else?
That's how it seems.
That's all? Okay, Abhishek Rawat is saying, time to have 3 different teams in 3 formats. Well, that is really
Well, then you're looking at, about a pool of about 35, 40 odd players in that case.
We did have, but Hardik said, no, we can play with 2-3 different teams all over the globe. Well, that doesn't even seem to be happening. Rohit would be ideal for just tests post World Cup. Only few like Jaddu and Kohli seem all format players now. Prolonged careers were playing just one format. Thoughts? But would the Indian players themselves want that? Like you said, Rahul.
If I'm the captain, obviously I would want to be the captain in all 3 formats. If you give me a choice, I would much rather want to become a T20 captain, because T20 World Cups, they happen every
2 years.
Every 2 years, yes.
So better chance of winning a World Cup.
Oh yes, that is true.
Rather than even though the
WTC is also
cycle
2 years.
2 years, but T20.
Yeah, T20 is the way forward. And which is the other question? More than IPL, Hardeep Singh is saying, I blame its schedule. In Australia, there are BBL and Test series at same time, and most of their Test players play BBL mostly at later stage.
Yeah.
But because they have a fixed calendar, Hardeep, in Australia, India, you play almost 9 out of 12 months. 9 out of 12 months, even 10 out of the 12 months. So Chandresh is like saying, so bad on the part of the England board to announce schedules for the tours from 2025 to 2031. How can they plan so far in advance? They're not setting a bad precedent. I mean, our own World Cup schedule has not yet been announced officially. Officially.
No, not even officially. It has not been announced. So ICC has to make the announcement. No,
Exactly.
BCCI has sent the draft to the ICC. Now ICC will send it to the participating teams. Then participating teams, if they have an issue, they can always make their suggestions, and then it will get the approval. So you're right. And if you look at the last few World Cups, the venues and schedule
1 year in
is
advance.
decided like 12 months in it. More than 12 months in advance. So yeah, to an extent you are right. So unprofessionalism on ECB's part.
Yeah. I mean, India's 5 venues on 2025 and 2029 are known already. So if you want advanced planning, please look at that. A video will be done by Harshit soon on that, so check that out. And final comment we'll take from Akash Bharadwaj. Who starts favourites for the Ashes for all of you? Mine is England. I looking at the way how England are going about it. See, they are playing baseball for one simple reason.
See,
They want a final whitewash. Something which Australia have inflicted on them 3 times, but England in their Ashes history have never inflicted that. They want to humiliate Australia big time, and they're going all out.
won't
So
be easy.
I
though.
think England start as favourites for me too.
Yeah, England will start as favourites, but never know.
Yeah, because remember, Australia have not won in England for 22 years. They came close in 2019, but that was a 2-2 draw. They could have very well won it 3-1 had it not been for that Ben Stokes miracle in Leeds.
Yeah.
So for me, it's England who start the favourite. What about you?
I think baseball's biggest test is now.
Yeah.
And I'd want to see a good contest. I wouldn't want to see, let's say, Australia, also because they've just been crowned WTC champions as well. I do expect a good contest.
Exactly.
I don't know. I think I'll wait to call it, but
Wait to call
I'm not expecting it to be a single-sided contest.
I think it's going to be single-sided. The way how England are playing, because they want a result. No
Let's
draws.
see. Let's see.
So 2 in favour of England and 1 is on the fence, and 1 our producer Shivam said Australia. So oh boy, it's going to be action-packed.
I hope Australia wins, but I think England will start as favourites.
Yeah, they're too strong now, and Indian cricket is on a break, unprecedented 1-month break now, but cricket doesn't stop. The Ashes begins from June 16th.
There is Major League Cricket, yeah. Go watch that also. There is so much happening.
LA Knight Riders, right?
LA Knight Riders.
And MI New York. So join us for all the latest sporting events that happens. Yes, cricket is on a break now for Indian cricket at least. Football is over, hockey is over, but more sports. STPL. Yeah, today is the 1 year anniversary of STPL.
Which is why Saransh wants us, because it is the 1 year anniversary since ST Blue won, ST Red. ST Red.
STPL Red. Yeah, 3-2. They bounced back from 2-0 down.
3-2.
So, thank you
We're gonna
guys
be
from
part
me,
of
Rahul and Harshad.
celebrations.
Bye-bye.
We'll see you.
See you.